Hey there, YouTube. Ghost Jake here with you today. How's your day going today or tonight? Should I say? Mine is going good. I just got done watching The Exorcist Season 2, Episode 7 on Hulu. And in case you're, and that I believe that episode is titled Help Me. Okay. And help me. Now I have a quick announcement to make very fast before I get started. Um, um, I usually post Once Upon a Time tonight also, but that's probably going to be postponed until tomorrow because the episode that aired tonight was a 2-hour special, episode 7 and episode 8, and I didn't get home in time to watch it at 8, and I really don't feel like recording at like 4 in the morning. So it's probably going to be held off until tomorrow. Hopefully. I will remember to still do that. Anyway, now let's get started on The Exorcist, on my Exorcist review. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now. Okay. Now, I thought this episode was actually pretty good, but I think last week's episode was a lot better than this week's because I honestly don't know how much there's going to be to talk about in this review, guys. Because like in this week's episode, the exorcism did start on Andy, but like I would say 90 or 95% of this episode wasn't. I mean, it was real because it was essential. It was needed for the exorcism. But like I said, 90 or 95% of this episode was all in Andy's head. So, okay, now let's get started. When this episode first picks up, it picks up right where Andy's sleeping in his bed. Right? He's sleeping in his bed. He gets up. He hears Nikki's voice. She says something. I can't recall exactly what she said, but she definitely says something. And then Andy goes down and starts like making coffee for like Nikki and him, and he's like tending to the kids, Verity, Caleb, Chuck, and everybody else. Now, what the demon is doing, I don't know if the demon's trying to like fully possess him, or if it's trying to have him be integrated. But for now, I'm thinking it might be trying to fully possess him instead of integration, because the 3 signs of possession: infestation, oppression, and then actual possession. And then a couple weeks ago, maybe 2, the second stage happened to Andy, and that is where the demonic entity marks his target. So it would make sense that that the third stage is happening right now. So anyway, but back to the review. But what the demon is actually showing Andy is the demon is showing Andy the demon is showing Andy how his wife died pretty much over and over and over and over and over again. Right? And it just keeps on showing him that. And then but the demon is also twisting the truth and lying too, because some stuff isn't happening the way it happened in real life inside of Andy's mind. But it's still, still happening. But then we get, flashes of real time. The flashes are, every time we have Father Thomas and Father Marcus performing the exorcism, right? And they're trying, like, the actual first lines from the exorcism when we come to them is, the power of Christ compels you. The same lines that Marin, right there, unless that's Damien Karras, but I'm pretty sure that's Father Marin, used in the original Exorcist when he was refacing off against the demon from his past when he was in Africa. But that was the first line we got. And that was a nice little callback, in my opinion. Really appreciated that. That was to the movie. But that was a nice little callback, like I said. That we saw Father Thomas and Father Marcus using that line in real life. And, nothing really happening. This demon has a pretty strong hold on Andy. Right? And nothing is really coming going towards Father Thomas's side or the demon's side. It's all staying in the middle, right? So, and then after nothing happens on that side, but what Marcus and Thomas are trying to do, they're trying to figure out when the demon exactly showed itself to showed itself when it first made contact to Andy, because that is going to help them get things going on. And Andy is resisting, or the demon is resisting. Okay, now we go back into Andy's mind again. Now back in his mind, the same stuff still happening. Like then all of a sudden, like, he wakes up pretty much again. We see that Grace has like a studio. Not Grace. Good gosh, I just watched the episode and got a name wrong already. Nikki has a studio, and that Nikki has a studio, and Andy has this like book room, and the demon is like, you don't really know, how things went, and then we see them at the. Then we see the demon and Andy at the park. And, or should I say Nikki, but instead the demon, but they're at the park either way, or not really, not the park, they're on some place on the island. And, the demon's getting all worked up in Andy's mind. It's like, oh, how is this going for you? Right? And then Andy's like, where are the kids? And then they're like, oh, I believe they're in the garden, right? and then and then they go and and then they go and then they head back inside, and then Andy's starting to realize that little stuff isn't very long. Like it showed, like the demons already started to twist stuff. It showed a vision of like a fight, like a fight between Nikki and Verity, and this also kind of explained like how Nikki was kind of depressed. Also, showed that fight between the two of them, and I thought that was like, oh, all right, but that fight actually didn't happen at all. That's another one of the demon's manipulations. And then we see, yeah, we see, we see, they wake. Like Andy is starting to get a grip of what's going on. We see like, oh, this isn't quite right, and he's starting to ignore the demon a little bit, and he's like, and then he wakes. Then we go back to the real world, and then he tells Father Thomas and Father Marcus to help him, and like, yeah, we'll help you till the end. And then Father Marcus and Father Thomas, they decide to bring Rose into the room, trying to get a response out of the demon. And not a response out of the demon. They're trying to make contact with Andy, trying to get all the information they can out of Andy about the demon. Making forced contact, giving them some sort of angle to use. Like sometimes, like with a, like sometimes, like with like in real life, if someone's possessed, like if you believe, if you believe, like the actual story this film and the book is based on, they're looking for a name, like the demon's name. But now that I think about it, I don't know if I can't remember. I don't know if the real life priest in the story based on the Exorcist actually got the demon's name. I could watch Possessed again. That could give me some sort of clue, but that won't tell you exactly what happened, because the movie Possessed is based on the actual events on the Exorcist story. Anyway, but back to the Exorcism. We're back in Andy's mind again. Like Andy is fighting the demon, and then the demon is starting to realize this, and the demon fully grabs Andy and says, "Oh no, you don't." Like and the demon's like, "You refuse to believe your wife was depressed, and like the kids are to blame for this." And the way how Andy starts, and the little before that, the reason why he started to fight the demon was because he kept on asking Demon Nikki, like, "Where's the kids?" And she says, "Oh, the kids are in the garden." Kept saying that over and over and over again. This time around in Andy's brain, hallucination of brain. And then he goes to the garden looking at the kids, and he sees he sees graves, like marked for all his foster kids. And that's when he decided to fight against the demon a little bit. Now this was a pretty cool scene. Like he goes and like Nikki's nowhere to be found, so Andy goes to the place where she drowned, But this time the demon is manipulating the kids, right? It's like, no, you need to stay here, right? And like, you need to stay here. And he just ignores him, and he goes to the place where she drowns, and then he dives underneath the water and tries to save Nikki, and he somewhat succeeds. And then all of a sudden, the kids appear on the beach, and he's like, "I'm glad they're dead." He's like, "I'm glad she's dead. I'm glad she's dead." And then all of a sudden, the demon Nikki opens her eyes, and then her eyes are like pale. And then all of a sudden, the real life Andy, not the Andy in his mind, but the real Andy, starts like coughing up water. So Father Thomas and Father Marcus have to untie him and lead him over, or he's going to drown. See, I guess demons can cause, demons can cause mental injuries, right? And then the demon can, and then now the demon, now with Father Thomas, after they save him, and they continue to start to do their exorcism on Andy, and the demon now is starting to mess with his actual mind. Not the inside of his mind, but the act, because Andy was resisting, but the actual reality. Like he showed the I actually kind of like that. He showed Father Thomas and Father Marcus as demons, like doing the whole like from the Exorcist, doing the whole where you twist your head, where the demon twists his head all the way around, and there was still and Father Thomas, and while the demon was making them look like demons in Andy's, mind, because the demon's playing the angle like, oh, they're here to drive us apart. You're not going to let them drive us apart, are you? And then the demon says, shows him as evil, priest, demonic priest, which was actually kind of funny. I kind of like that a little bit, but and then with all the chaos going on, the demon, showing Andy the hallucinations, the demon, Andy says, "Help me." Again, right? And this time you think he's talking to the priests, but no, he is not. In fact, this time around, he is talking to the demon Nikki, right? Now, here's what happened. All of a sudden, we go back into Andy's mind really fast. In Andy's mind, we see all the kids tied up, and Andy just completely ignores the kids. And then completely ignores the kids. And then all of a sudden, he goes back to the place where Nikki drowned in real life. And we see Nikki submerging underneath the water. Andy dives in, saves her, saves the demon Nikki. And the demon, acknowledges this. It's like, oh, you saved me. And then, Andy kisses the demon Nikki. But, Andy thinks it's his wife, but it's actually, the demon. We all know that. But he kisses her, and then all of a sudden, the demon makes a remark. And then after Andy kisses the demon, we go back to the real world instead of Andy's mind hallucination, and we see like time is slowed down. We see the Nikki walk out anywhere, like get on top of Andy, before she like grabs like some holy water, and you can tell it burns the demon, and then the demon pretty much says to Andy, you know what? He's like, you finally kind of accepted me. It's my turn to save you. So the demon gets on top of him and starts taking the holy water, and you can see like the burns, from like on Nikki, and it's like, oh, what's going on here? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Father Thomas and Father Marcus get thrown back against the wall, right? It's just like the demon powered up. They just get shot back against the wall. And you see Andy scream, right? And all of a sudden, guess what? The demon has fully possessed Andy at this point. So, what is going to happen now? What is going to happen now? I couldn't tell if it was I couldn't tell if it was full on possession or if it was integration. I'm leaning towards full on possession instead of the integration route. That is just what I'm leaning towards. Anyway, this is Ghost Jake signing off. But before I sign off, I'll re-say what I just said. Like in the beginning, I thought this episode was all right. The one before, the previous one, was a lot better in my opinion. Like this episode was a lot of just mental warfare between Father Thomas and Father Marcus and the demon. So, and it turns out the demon won round 1. Okay, this is Ghost Jake signing off. I'll see you later. Bye.